Hey, what is up everyone? Tyler Ramsbey here on the Hack Smarter Twitch channel, or you may be watching this on my personal YouTube page. Welcome to the stream. I'm gonna turn my desktop audio back up. I am live here on Twitch. I am also in our Discord channel. If you don't know about Discord, you can watch it on, if you're watching this on YouTube, it should be in the description invite link. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and just post a comment saying you want to join, and we will share that with you. My buddy Nate, who's the other streamer on this channel, has like way upgraded this, and so I'm still figuring out all the different scenes. So if I totally screw something up, oh well. You guys can hang with me. I'm gonna go ahead and try to share my screen. I got Kali Linux pulled up in the background, and we are gonna be doing the breaching AD room today on TryHackMe. I'm gonna turn my music down a little bit. I don't know if it's loud for you guys on Twitch, but it's loud for me. And actually, I'm also going to get, do I have Twitch pulled up? I do. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the Twitch chat so I can monitor the chat as well. If you're tuning into the chat, say hi. I think the more people that talk, like unique people that talk, it increases our Twitch level. I don't actually know how Twitch works that much, but go ahead and chat because it does something for us. And while we do that, got my audio adjusted a little bit. All right, so during doing the throwback network, I completely broke my Kali Linux VM. I couldn't get CrackMap exec to work anymore, uninstalled it, reinstalled it multiple times, and then I just thought I'm gonna start over, and this is a completely fresh install of Kali Linux. The only thing I have run is Pimp My Kali, which if you do install Kali Linux, Google Pimp My Kali, and it fixes a lot of issues, and there's a lot of cool tools that you have there. But we are gonna get connected to TryHackMe, and I actually have to download the configuration file and everything. So if you're new, you can follow along with me. If you have a subscription to TryHackMe, you should be able to access this room. If you don't have a subscription, I believe you need a 7-day hacking streak to be able to access this room. If you do not have a subscription, I recommend it. In my opinion, it is well worth the money. While we get logged in here, I lost Twitch already. There we go. Levels are good on Twitch now. Sweet, sounds good. Thanks, Nate. All right, so if you are on here, you should be able to access it over here on our new rooms. If you're watching this after the fact, you may just have to search for breaching AD, but let's go ahead and go there. I think I have it open on my base machine too. I do. I might just close this one out. Well, I'll leave it open over here. No, I don't want you to show me notifications. All right, so breaching Active Directory. What we'll do is we will just dive into it and we'll kind of read through here and so we all have to do. So Active Directory is used by approximately 90% of the global Fortune 1000 companies. Now we were doing the throwback network, which is also an Active Directory network, but I had some technical issues. I don't know if Nate is gonna try to finish it or not, but if he does, he's awesome. I got too frustrated with it. So I may eventually go back to it, but it's a hard room to stream because I felt like we kept running into technical issues, and it sucks doing that on stream because then you spend like the entire hour and a half streaming going on that. And Zach Attack said the audio keeps stuttering. Hey Nate, you mind listening on Twitch and let me know if the audio's stuttering?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
You gotta make some noise though.
Yeah, I was just typing. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking on Twitch. I'll just keep going through this. I'll feel free to interrupt me if it sounds like the audio is stuttering. And I'll see if it's something with the new configuration or what it is. So anyways, if an organization or state uses Microsoft Windows, sounds good to you? Sweet. So Zach Attack, it might just be your connection. Go ahead and try to refresh and see if that fixes it for you. You're almost guaranteed to find AD. And one of the reasons I'm dialing into Active Directory is I eventually want to get the OSCP, and a big part of that is Windows. I'm pretty comfortable with Linux, like getting that initial foothold and elevating privileges. I'm not that comfortable with Windows. And so as I do these different Windows rooms, just know that I'm not coming at you as an expert. I'm coming at you as another person on the journey, just seeking to learn. So if I ever do something that's inefficient or doesn't make sense, please call me out because I want to learn as I do this. However, since AD is used for identity and access management of the entire estate, it holds the keys to the kingdom, making it a very likely target for attackers. Now, if you're brand new to Active Directory, I did do this room, I think, back in the day. It walks you through some of the basics. I encourage you to do that. Otherwise, if you use, like if you work in IT right now, sorry, my chair's messing up. If you work in IT right now and you use Active Directory, you should be good. Breaching Active Directory. All right, before we can exploit AD misconfigurations for privilege escalation, lateral movement, and goal execution, you need initial access first. Makes sense, right? You need to acquire an initial set of valid AD credentials. Due to the number of AD services and features, the attack surface for gaining an initial set of AD creds is usually significant. In this room, we will discuss several avenues, but this is by no means an exhaustive list. When looking for that first set of creds, we don't focus on permissions, so even a low-level privileged account would be sufficient. We just want to get in, right, to begin enumerating and figuring things out. Learning objectives. Here's what we're going to cover. You can read that on your own. Now we're going to go through connecting to the network. I do want to explain some basic TryHackMe terminology. When you're doing TryHackMe, you'll see this term come up, which is attack box. Attack box is like the web-based VM that TryHackMe offers you. If you open attack box, it'll give you a side-by-side view. On one side you have attack box, on the other side you'll have the room. I think attack box can be useful, but I would strongly encourage you, if you're doing TryHackMe, get Kali Linux in your own VM. It helps with troubleshooting. I think it works easier, and then you can customize the OS according to your needs. I made another video on my YouTube channel, so if you just go to YouTube and search for Tyler Ramsbey, my name, you can find my YouTube channel, and I think the video is called like Start Hacking Legally Today or Learn Hacking Legally Today, and I do a walkthrough of downloading Kali Linux on Oracle VirtualBox, getting it set up, and getting connected to the TryHackMe network. So if you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can pause this video, go to that one, get things configured, and come back. Otherwise, if you're watching this on Twitch, do it later. Throughout this network, DNS will be used for the task. You need to configure DNS on the host. So this is configuring on the attack box. I'm guessing it's going to be slightly different instructions for us since we're in the VM. Let's just scroll down. Other hosts. If you are going to use your own attack machine, an open configuration file will have been generated for you. Let's go ahead and grab that. And this is going to be different than your normal, if you usually access TryHackMe, it's not your normal configuration file. You have to go over to networks, and here's breaching AD right there for us. Let's go ahead and download our configuration file. Let's open up terminal. Switch over to root. Do that. Call that VPN. If you guys hear my air conditioner, it's because it's just turned on. It's so dang hot where I live, but in my little basement office, it is currently 63 degrees, so it's nice and cool down here. I love it. I hate the heat. All right, we got that configured. At least we got connected. And if we refresh this, it should verify that we're connected. Okay, I thought it would. Oh, let's switch over to breaching AD. Yep, so we're connected. There's our IP address. It actually shows up here as well. So we have that done. Okay, I'm guessing we have to adjust our DNS stuff as well. And I believe I actually know how to do that. Yeah, this through Network Manager, DNS IP to the domain controller. Okay, I see. So advanced network configuration, at least in Kali Linux. At least I believe this is how you do it. Go here. Go to IPv4 settings. We're going to add a DNS server right here. At least I'm kind of skimming the instructions, but I've done this before. So we want to add that IP of the domain controller right there. So let's just give that a shot and see if this works. Just see if it actually stuck. Oh, and then you know what we'll also want to do? Hold up, do I need to go? I might want to add like, I don't know if that'll work. Let's go like that. Oh, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I should read the instructions. Pretty sure I'm in the right area though. Let me jump down here. You have to, if you only, what I'm thinking is if you only add the DNS server on here, you won't have access to the internet because it's not gonna be able to resolve the addresses because TryHackMe is a closed network. And HunterBot said, is this a new network on THM? Yes, I believe it was released like a week ago. And I think they're releasing a new network like this once a week. And this is, TryHackMe in the past didn't do networks often. So this is kind of cool that they're doing this, but it is a new network on TryHackMe. Okay, so network manager, IPv4 setting, set your DNS IP here to the IP for that. Add another DNS. Okay, that's what I thought I did. Let's scroll back up so we have that IP. Oh, okay. Let's go like this. 10, oops. 10.200.25.101. How come I can't save? Do I need to change it to manual? It's broken. I mean, it's there. Well, I don't know. How do we test it? Oh,
did you get it to save or no?
I don't know. Let's find out.
So I can't even modify that. I think it's because I'm using Hyper-V. So I'm having to like configure it with the resolve.conf file instead.
Sure. Maybe I have to do that as well. I've done this before for a room, and it worked. That's how I kind of had a general idea what I was doing. I don't remember what room it was, though. I'm just going to try to test this. It resolved. Can I ping Google, though? Yeah, seems to be working for me. It resolved to the right DNS server, so I think we're good. I guess we'll find out as we get further in. So I've completed the AD basics room, sure, and I'm connected to the network configured DNS. I can't complete it. There we go. It took a little bit. OSINT and Phishing. I bet we're going to use phishing to get initial access, maybe. Two popular methods for gaining access to that first set of AD creds is open source intelligence, aka OSINT, and phishing. We'll cast a line out. We will only briefly mention the two methods here, as I already covered more in depth in other rooms. OSINT is used to discover information that has been publicly disclosed. In terms of AD creds, this can happen for several reasons, such as A, users who ask questions on public forums such as Stack Overflow, but disclose sensitive information such as their creds in the question. That sounds like a good idea. Developers that upload scripts to services such as GitHub with credentials hard-coded, and credentials being disclosed in past breaches since employees use their work accounts to sign up for other external websites. Websites such as Have I Been Pwned and Dhash provide excellent platforms. If you've never used Have I Been Pwned, it is a sweet website. I'll show it to you guys quick. Maybe I won't. I'm impatient. Basically, if you go to Have I Been Pwned, well, here, I have an old email that I know has been pwned many times. Go ahead and hack it. I don't care. I have been in 9 data breaches, right? So you can look up your email. You can actually look up your password. Generally, I don't recommend typing your password into stuff. Let's type password 123 and see how many times that's been pwned. Password 123 has been seen 248,000 times. So if that's your password, go ahead and change your password now. That's my free security advice for the evening. Cool website though, fun stuff. By using OSINT techniques, it may be possible to recover publicly disclosed creds. If you are lucky enough to find credentials, we will still need to find a way to test whether they are valid or not, since OSINT information can be outdated. In Task 3, we will talk about NTLM authenticated services, which may provide an excellent avenue to test creds to see if they are still valid. A detailed room on Red Team OSINT can be found here. Phishing, I guess you all know what phishing is. It's, of course, sending an email to trick people and get their credentials or install stuff on their computer. I'm not going to explain that. I understand OSINT. Okay. I understand phishing. Perfect. What popular website can be used to verify if the email address has ever been exposed? There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, task 3. NTLM and net NTLM. We have stuff to download. Let's just download that real quick. New Technology LAN Manager, or NTLM, is the suite of security protocols used to authenticate users' identities in AD. NTLM can be used for authentication by using a challenge response-based schema called net NTLM. This authentication method is heavily used by the services on a network. However, services that use net NTLM can also be exposed to the internet. The following are some popular examples. Internally hosted Exchange servers that use Outlook Web App, RDP, VPN, web applications that are internet facing and make use of it. Net NTLM, also often referred to as Windows Authentication or just NTLM Authentication, allows the application to play the role of a middleman between the client and AD. All authentication material is forwarded to a domain controller, keep that in mind, in the form of a challenge, and if completed successfully, the application will authenticate the user, right? So the password is not stored there, the password's stored on the domain controller. I think this is where tickets are gonna come in. This means that the application is authenticating on behalf of the user and not authenticating the user directly, right? On the application itself. This prevents the application from storing AD creds, that's important, which should only be stored on the domain controller. This process is shown in the diagram below, right? So the application user requests access, the server sends the challenge, the client sends the response, and then the server is going to the domain controller, sends a challenge and response to there. The domain controller compares challenge and response for authentication, sends it back to the server, and the server sends the domain controller's response there. So here's kind of the middleman in this authentication protocol. Brute force login attacks, as mentioned. Please, can you zoom your browser ever so slightly? Yes, absolutely I can. Thanks for asking. There, let me know if that's better. As mentioned in task 2, these exposed services provide an excellent location to test credentials discovered using other means. However, these services can also be used directly in an attempt to recover an initial set of valid AD creds. We could perhaps try to use these for brute force attacks if we recovered information such as valid email addresses during our initial red team recon. Yeah, no problem, Zach Attack. I don't know when you posted that, so if it was a little bit before I looked at it, I apologize. Since most AD environments have account lockout configured, we won't be able to run a full brute force attack, right? Most AD environments have, like, after 3 or 5 incorrect emails, it's gonna lock you out. So instead of like brute force, you do like a password spray. You take one password and throw it to a bunch of accounts. Instead, we'll need to perform, oh, there you go, a password spraying attack. Instead of trying multiple different passwords, we choose and use one password. That's one way to bypass that. However, it should be noted these types of attacks can be detected due to the amount of failed authentication attempts they will generate. Yes. You have actually one fun story about this. At one place that I worked, we noticed that all of our admin accounts were getting locked out, and the admin accounts were, I don't want to give away too much, but they were kind of generic in the way that a program could try to log into them. And we noticed when one user was working from home and was connected to his home network, there was something going on trying to connect to our VPN client and trying to get into our domain credentials. Now, they never got logged in, but our domain admin accounts kept getting locked due to incorrect logins. And we brought the computer to the office. There's nothing malicious on it. We re-imaged the computer, gave it back to the user. He went back to his home, and sure enough, the same exact thing happened. So then we're like, well, how do we troubleshoot a user's home network? So like, hey, dude, take pictures of like how your computer is configured. And what he was doing is he was taking like his Ethernet cord directly from where it goes essentially into his house. He wasn't going through a router. or any type of firewall and going directly into his computer. So his computer essentially was an internet facing server, and it was being like essentially through different bots picked up on and having scripts thrown at it. Because usually when you go through a router, your router has a firewall built into it. And even if you pull up like your router and pull up your logs, you'd be surprised at how many connection attempts are made to your router just through the internet of, it's not a person targeting you, but it's just like different bots and scripts spamming out to anything internet facing. So that was a fun little thing of that. No idea how we got to that. Oh, account lockout. You have been provided with a list of usernames discovered in a red team OSINT exercise. The OSINT exercise also indicated the organization's initial onboarding password, which seems to be change-me123, very secure password. Although users should always change their initial password, we know that users often forget, and that's why through AD you can enforce, like, make user change their password at first login. So if you do that, make sure you enforce that rule. We will be using a custom developed script to stage a password spraying attack against a web application hosted at this URL. Let's see if we can connect to that. Hey, admin. Nope, didn't work. Okay. Navigating to the URL, we can see that prompts us for Windows authentication creds. Firefox is prone to failure. Don't use it apparently. We could use tools such as Hydra, which is what I've used before, to assist with the password spraying attack. You could also use Burp Suite, but if you don't have Burp Suite Pro, it is rate limited quite a bit. However, it is often better to script up these types of attacks yourself, which allows you more control over the process. All right. Well, cool. Let's look at this script ourselves and see if we can kind of walk our way through it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change my preferences on here just to make the text a little bit bigger for you guys. Let's make it like, I don't know, 20 maybe. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. And actually, I don't like it being so opaque. 1 second. I told you this is a brand new setup. Appearance. Here we go. I think terminal transparency. I don't know if this is what I want to adjust. What happens if I go like that? Oh, that's not what I want. There we go. That's how I want it. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and make a directory breaching AD, and let's CD to our downloads folder. And there's our password sprayer. Let's move password sprayer to home, Kali, breaching AD. Let's unzip that. Okay, so we can just remove password sprayer now. Clean it up, perfect. So we have a script, we have usernames. All right, and like most organizations, they use first name dot last name for their account. And let's go ahead and look at that script. Maybe. Okay, let's see if we can make this bigger as well. On Subble, is it under view? Maybe I can just control. There we go. Okay, so we're doing Python 3. We're importing a library, importing another library. We are setting this class. This is just saying whether or not the login succeeds or fails. And we're defining this as a function. We're gonna load our users. We have this user file. So it's gonna go through these user files, gonna read the lines for line and line. So it's going through, can't think of the right word for it right now, but it's going through each one of those usernames. We have this password spray function, password and URL, print starting password spray attack using the following passwords, adding the password from that file. And then once again, it's going through here. Here's where those HTTP codes come in handy. And that's how it's gonna print either, if it's that successful code, right? A 200 code, it's gonna print valid credential found. It's gonna give us the username and password. If it is the other HTTP code for whatever, 400, 401, it's going to say failed login. Here's our main argument. So I'm guessing when we run the Python script, we're going to specify a user file, a fully qualified domain name, a password, and our attack URL. We have the try stuff. Okay. This is just saying try this as long as the user provides all the information that's needed. If the user types it wrong, then print this. And this is just telling us, here's the syntax of how to run this script. If you do script, that's always good practice. I hate when I download a script from GitHub and they don't tell me the syntax. It drives me crazy. Okay. Sweet. Well, let's go ahead and give it a shot. And it looks like it's already made that. So if I'll show you what happens if we run it. Password spray. Oh, I need to do Python maybe. Well, I should be able to do it like that. Whoops. So if you just run it, it's going to give us the syntax. So let's go ahead and run that again. And we want our user file is usernames.txt. Our .f is a fully qualified domain name, which I don't honestly remember what it is. What are we doing? If you're using the attack box, blah, 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 za.tryhackme.com is what we're looking at. Let's go and copy this if we haven't already. No, maybe I will make this more transparent. Then I can see the screen behind me. Usually I have two monitors I work with, but you guys on Twitch are on my other monitor. So let me just adjust my preferences one more time real quick. Let me give it like 15. There. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad for you guys having that right behind there, but now we can actually see what we're looking at behind us. So .f is that za.tryhackme.com. .p is our password, which is going to be change me 123. Remember the default password. .a is going to be that attack URL. And here goes nothing. Hey. We got what, 4 valid credentials, and let's just echo like Holly.Powell, Heather.Smith, Gordon.Stevens, Georgina.Edwards, and let's just say like, we'll just go like that. Change me 123, just so we keep that information, and we'll call it creds.txt. There we go. So we have that recorded that those 3 users all have those default creds. Using a combination, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what is the name of the challenge response authentication method that blah, 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 blah uses? What was the actual name? Is it NetLM? Yeah, NTLM. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Let's try that. What is the username of the 3rd valid credential found by the password spraying attack? Gordon Stevens. How many valid credentials? 4. What is a message displayed by the web application when authenticating with a valid by the web application? Okay, let's go ahead and log in. Is it Gordon Smith? Nope, typed that wrong. Oh, Gordon Stevens. Okay, let's try Gordon Stevens. How about? Hello, world. That's our answer, I think. Boom. All right, guys, I think it's a good time for a break. I am going to take a 5-minute break. We'll see if I break it. Last time I did this, I kind of broke it. And I'd encourage you guys, get up, walk around, shadow box, do something, drink some water, use the bathroom. I will be back in 5 minutes. Boom! Welcome back, everyone. Good to have you guys back. Just getting things reset up on my end. Hopefully you had a good break. I'm going to get Twitch pulled back up on the side. There we go. We got Twitch pulled up. And let me go ahead and share my screen to you guys. Let's jump back into this thing. So let's go to task 4, LDAP bind creds. If my scroll on my mouse would work. Okay. Okay, it is completely broken. Huh. Isn't that interesting? It's like... I don't know what it's doing, y'all. 1 second.
You're gonna have to reinstall Kali again.
Can I, I'm gonna pull up TryHackMe. I've noticed sometimes in Kali, Chrome can be a little bit buggy, so we're gonna do some of this part on here. Should save our where we're at. Let me just get pulled up on my host machine real quick. There we go. LDAP bind credentials. And we'll throw that to the side. Where the heck is Kali at? Am I blind? Oh, because I have it full screen. Let's try this. Oh my goodness. There we go. Dude, what is going on? All right, back in business. Maybe. Jeez. Come on, Kali Linux. It seems Kali is frozen. TryHackMe just nuked my Kali machine. That's fine. I'll show you guys some basic troubleshooting. When this happens, here's what you do. Power off the machine. It's your basic IT support. You start the machine. Oh no, you guys see my password right there, Kali. Very secure password, Kali. So this is just like an extension of our break time. So hopefully you enjoyed these couple extra minutes of break time while you watch me reboot my VM.
Oh.
Now that we're going to pull it up on here, let's go ahead and adjust our preferences again. I'll eventually stop adjusting these. No, I probably won't. Let's pull up Chrome here. All right, we're back in business. Maybe. Let's just extend our time real quick. All right, LDAP. Another method of AD authentication that applications can use as a lightweight directory access protocol authentication. LDAP authentication is similar to NTLM authentication. However, with LDAP authentication, the application directly verifies the user's creds. All right, so you remember the difference there. The application has a pair of AD creds that it can use first to query LDAP and then verify the AD user's credentials. LDAP authentication is a popular mechanism with third-party, aka non-Microsoft applications that integrate with AD. These include applications and systems such as GitLab, Jenkins, custom-developed web applications, printers, I hate printers, and VPNs. If any of these applications or services are exposed on the internet, the same type of attacks as those leveraged against NTLM authentication systems can be used. However, since a service using LDAP authentication requires a set of AD creds, it opens up additional attack avenues. In essence, we can attempt to recover the AD creds used by the service to gain authentication access to AD. The process of authentication through LDAP is shown below. So number 1, user sends printing request with AD username and password. The printer uses this, let me make this bigger for us. The printer uses its AD credentials to create, and I think they mean an LDAP bind request. The DC, or the domain controller right here, provides a bind response. The printer requests LDAP user search. The domain controller does a user search response. LDAP does bind requests with user credentials back to the domain controller. Domain controller kicks it back with server sends bind response, and then finally back to the user. User is authenticated and print job is accepted. If you could gain a foothold on the correct host, such as a GitLab server, it might be as simple as reading the config files to recover these AD creds. These creds are often stored in plain text and configuration files, since the security model relies on keeping the location and storage configuration file secure rather than its contents. Configuration files are covered in more depth in Task 7. Cool. LDAP passback attacks. However, one other very interesting attack can be formed against LDAP authentication mechanisms called an LDAP passback attack. This is a common attack against network devices such as printers when you have gained initial access to the internal network, such as plugging in a rogue device in a boardroom. Boom, property of IT. LDAP passback attacks can be performed when we gain access to a device's configuration where the LDAP parameters are specified. This can be, for example, the web interface of a network printer. Usually the credentials for these interfaces are kept to the default ones, such as admin or admin password. Here, we won't be able to directly extract the LDAP cred since the password is usually hidden. However, we can alter the LDAP configuration, such as the IP or host name of the LDAP server. In an LDAP passback attack, we can modify this IP to our IP and then tell us the LDAP configuration, which will force the device to attempt LDAP authentication to our rogue device. We can intercept this authentication attempt to recover the LDAP credentials. Cool. Performing an LDAP passback attack. There's a network printer in this network where the administrator website does not require credentials. All right, let's go ahead and pull this over here. And let's copy link address, open up Chrome. Hopefully our network manager stuff stayed the same. We'll find out right here. Cool. There's a network printer in this network where the administrator website does not even require credentials. Okay, navigate to there to find the settings page of the printer, which here we are. And I don't remember what I was doing one day, but I was doing like Google hacking, which is just where you search for certain keywords in Google. And I found multiple printers like this for major colleges where I could access their admin settings, I could change their password, and I emailed them saying, hey, you guys should probably fix this, and I never heard back from them. So they probably got exploited because they didn't listen to me. But this is a pretty common thing. If you just Google, if you look up the correct Google term, you can find a bunch of printers that you have full access to. You can print anything you want to them. All right, using browser inspection. I don't know if this is what they mean. They mean looking at the source. See if we can find what there. Yeah, here it is. So we have this input type, text password, and this value. Text password, text server. Using browser inspection, we can also verify that the printer website was at least secure enough to not just send the LDAP password back to the browser. Let me see that there. So we have the username. Okay. Right there. but not the password. I can't just copy this, right? Sometimes you can bypass that. Nope. I know that's worked in the past. So we have the username, but not the password. However, when we press test settings, we can see that the authentication request is made to the domain controller to test the LDAP conditions. So I'd assume if we grab that request, I don't see anything happening here. Let's try to exploit this to get the printer to connect to us instead, which would disclose the credentials. To do this, let's use a simple netcat listener to test if we can get the printer to connect to us. Since the default port of LDAP is 389, we can use the following command. Okay. Oh yeah, connection failed. The LDAP server is unavailable. So we're going to be the LDAP server. Note that if you use the attack box, you should first disable slap D. Pow! Then we can alter the service input box in the web application to point to our IP and press test settings. Your IP, so we need to put in our IP here, which is going to be 10.50. Oh, is my numlock not on? Dude, come on. 10.50.23.15. I think that should be our correct address. Yep, you can use IPA to list all interfaces. Please make sure to use this as your IP, blah, blah, blah. You should see that we get a connection back, but there's a slight problem. Let's go ahead and do that first. So, oh, why did it update the IP on us? I probably have to hit save settings, maybe? Okay. Alright. Okay. You see that we get a connection back, but there's a slight problem. Yep, I'd say so. You may require more than one try to receive a connection back, but it should respond within 5 seconds. The supported capabilities response, that's this right here, tells us we have a problem. Essentially, before the printer sends over the credentials, it is trying to negotiate the LDAP authentication method details. It will use this negotiation to select the most secure authentication method that both the printer and the LDAP server support. If the authentication method is too secure, the credentials will not be transmitted in clear text. With some authentication methods, the credentials will not be transmitted over the network at all, so we can't just use normal netcat to harvest the creds. We will need to create a rogue LDAP server and configure it insecurely to ensure the credentials are sent in plain text. Here's what we're going to do, guys. This is where the hacking begins. All right. Hosting a rogue LDAP server. There are several ways to host a rogue LDAP server, but we will use Open LDAP for this example. If you are using the attack box, it has already been installed. However, if you're using your own attack machine, you may need to install it. Let's see. Yep, we do have to install it. So, using the following command. Oh my goodness, why so many things? Can't I just like get open LDAP or something? Okay, fine. Are we gonna work? I believe in you, Callie. Unless my DNS server screws this up. Nope. I feel like it's being slower though. Here we go. You all, however, have to configure your own rogue LDAP server in the attack box. We'll start by reconfiguring the LDAP server using the following command. Okay, we'll get to that once this is done installing. Let's see. Zach Attack said, when you restarted your box, did you reduce Tom the DNS? Oh, redo the DNS? Nope, it stayed saved in my network manager, at least in Kali Linux. The only time you'll have to redo the DNS is if the server or if the network gets restarted or reset. So if someone resets the network or the network restarts, I'm pretty sure the IP changes, and then you'll have to redo your DNS settings. Or like, I probably won't finish. Oh, maybe. I don't know if we'll finish this all tonight. So if I don't finish this tonight, the next time I connect to this, I'll have to redo my DNS settings. It's taking some time to install this, though. Hey, please enter the password for the admin entry in your LDAP directory. I don't know what it is. Make sure to press no when requested if you want to skip server configuration. I don't know what this is looking for. Okay. Don't know if I was supposed to do that. So if we do, I don't need to do sudo because I'm logged in as root. Omit server configuration. I'm supposed to hit no on that. Okay, so for our DNS domain name, za.tryhackme.com. Organization name, same name, za.tryhackme.com. Administrator password. What's a very strong admin password? How about password 123? Password 123. Very strong password. Do you want the database to remove when slapd is purged? I mean, I don't care. There are still files in var lib LDAP which will probably break the configuration process. If you enable this option, the maintainer scripts will move the old database files out of the way before creating a new database. That sounds like a good idea to me. Shoot, did I miss stuff? Oh, I think I did that right. Okay, cool. Before using the rogue LDAP server, we need to make it vulnerable by downgrading the supported authentication methods. We want to ensure that our LDAP server only supports plain and login authentication methods. To do this, we need to create a new LDIF file called with the following content. Where do I create this at? Where do I create my rogue LDAP server, my rogue authentication file at? Let's zoom ahead. Can I just create it anywhere? Maybe I target it later on? Just kind of glance through here. Let's go like this. Let's go OLC, SASL, sec, props, LDIF, location, Linux. Oh, init. Oh, of course. That makes sense. Maybe it's here. I'm going to guess we make it here, but I could be completely wrong. Let's just try it. So we need to create a new LDIF file called the following content. So let's do subl olc sasl secprops dot LDIF. Okay. So following is the following properties. This specifies the SASL security properties. No anonymous. Disables mechanisms that support anonymous login. And min SSF specifies a minimum acceptable security strength of 0, meaning no protection. Now we can use an LDIF file to patch our LDAP server. Use the following. Okay. Did it save it here? Am I blind? What file am I looking for? OLC. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if I'm supposed to put it there. Oh well, who cares? If I break out our remake Kali again. Now we can use LDIF file to patch our LDAP server using the following. LDAP modify .y external. Now you could copy and paste it, but I just like to type it for learning purposes. .f for file, I take it. Oh yeah, so you could have made this anywhere. And, so if that succeeds, do this, service, slap D, restart. Seemed to work. We can verify that our rogue LDAP server configuration is implied using the following command. LDAP search -h LDAP.x -LLLL -s base.b. Well, I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to see. Maybe I typed it wrong. It doesn't look like what they have. I have top and open brute DSE, and they have this mechanism down here. Oh well, let's just keep going. If it doesn't work later on, we know that we need to come back to that. Our rogue LDAP server has now been configured. When we click the test settings at that, the authentication will occur in clear text. If you configure your rogue LDAP server correctly and it is downgrading the communication, you will receive the following error. The distinguished name contains invalid syntax. If you receive this error, you can use a TCP dump to capture the credentials using the following command. Okay, well let's first set up our netcat listener again. 389. Oh, did I never close that netcat listener? Address already in use. I don't see netcat on here. Is that because my LDAP server is running? So what happens if I go like this? Hold up. So they said the distinguished name contains invalid syntax. If you receive this error, which we did, you can use TCP dump to capture the creds using the following command. Okay, interesting. SX-I at 0, that's just our IP, port 389. Okay. Test. See if this fills up. It might not be using the right IP. I have a feeling it's not. Yeah, because that's done. Because it set it to this IP, which is like the local IP for my machine. We just need to set it to ton 0 is what we need to do. Let's try it again. Now let's try a test connection. No? No, you don't want to work? Oh, hey. Is this the password right here? Duh pass. 1 at. I bet that's the password. See if there's anything else that we see in here. Anything that catches my eye right away. Nope, I bet that's the password. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, you may have to change your eth0 to whichever interface on your machine. Where I did that. Also note that password 11 is an example. Where's their password 11 at? LDAP password the 11 there. I think it's the pass one at, if I'm understanding this correctly. You may have to press the test settings button a couple of times. Now we have another set of valid AD creds. By using LDAP passback attack and downgrading the support authentication mechanism, we could intercept the credentials and clear text. That is pretty cool. What type of attack can be performed against an LDAP authentication system not commonly found against Windows authentication systems? Passback attack? I don't remember what it's called. I don't know what it's looking for. Isn't that what we just did? Oh, did I forget the dash or something? LDAP passback attack. There we go. What two authentication methods do we allow on our rogue LDAP server to downgrade the authentication and make it clear text? That was no anonymous and min SSF, right? Nope, that doesn't fit that. What two authentication mechanisms do we allow? Use LDAP search. Okay. Okay, we didn't find the correct password because that's too long. Let's see if we can find that correct password first. Should have just exported this. Let's go like. Well, I mean, it should be obvious, right? Otherwise, I could put in like a subble file so I can TryHackMe LDAP pass. I mean, what is that? If you guys on Twitch see it and I'm missing the obvious, tell me. It's somewhere in here. It looks like it's a longer password based on what I see. Okay, I didn't even see it in theirs. Let me check theirs real quick. There said password 11 is just an example. Was theirs like at the top? It's down at the bottom there. Password 11 at the bottom. I wonder if we didn't configure our LDAP server correctly. Because I didn't get the same settings they did. Oh, that's the answer. I think it just overflows on a multiple lines. Is what Nate said. The passes. Is it like this whole thing right here with these numbers on it? TryHackMe LDA pass. Oh, let me see if I missed that. Oh, I see what you're saying. I think it's because I had my screens, I had TryHackMe pulled up, so it's squishing it together. I gotcha. Thank you. I'd have been sitting here forever trying to figure out what was going on. So it's that TryHackMe LDAP pass. I see. Good catch. What two authentication methods do we allow on our rogue LDAP server? So what we changed before using it, we need to make it vulnerable by downgrading the support authentication measure. Blah, blah, blah. Only supports plain and login. That's what it is. Okay, guys, good break point right there. Let's take another 5-minute break, and we will dive back into things in just a moment, in exactly 5 minutes. Here we go. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your 5-minute break. We are jumping back into things. This time I remember to turn the music back on. So hopefully you guys can hear some music. I'm just gonna adjust the audio a little bit for that. Let me know on Twitch if it's overpowering, too quiet. It's hard for me to monitor that side of things, but sorry for forgetting to turn the music back on for you guys. Let me jump back into sharing my screen quick. Here we go, and let me open up where we were at. We have about 15 more minutes is what we'll do, and I'll dive back into this unless Nate picks it up tomorrow. I'll be back on, see, Nate's gonna be streaming tomorrow night. I'll be back on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and so we'll knock it out this week. I'm gonna turn my music down a little bit. It's a little too loud for me personally. 1 second. There we go. Twitch pulled back up. All right. Another wall of text, but let's go ahead and download our task files and see how far we make it through it. Continuing with the attacks that can be staged from our rogue device. So we have our rogue device, right? We have this LDAP server. We can probably close this out now. We have this LDAP server that we are hosting. We have this print server. So we are hosting a rogue LDAP connection, which is pretty dang cool. Continuing with the attacks that be staged from our rogue device, we will now look at attacks against broader network authentication protocols. In Windows networks, there are a significant amount of services talking to each other, allowing users to make use of the services provided by the network. These services have to use built-in authentication methods to verify the identity of incoming connections. In Task 2, we explored NTLM authentication used on a web application. In this task, we will dive a bit deeper to look at how this authentication looks from the network's perspective. However, for this task, we will focus on net NTLM authentication used by SMB, Server Message Block. The Server Message Block protocol allows clients like workstations to communicate with each other like a file share. And when you do different CTFs, that's often something that you'll abuse. In networks that use Microsoft AD, SMB governs everything from inter-network file sharing to remote administration. Even the out-of-paper alert your computer receives when you try to print a document is the work of the SMB protocol. However, the security of earlier versions of the SMB protocol was deemed insufficient. Several vulnerabilities and exploits were discovered that could be leveraged to recover creds or even gain code execution on devices. Bad. Although some of these vulnerabilities were resolved in newer versions of the protocol, and let's just test this. Proof of concept. Let's go like this. Look at that. So if I just do search exploit SMB, look at all these fun vulnerabilities. And I believe Eternal Blue, a famous, a famous exploit, if you guys have heard of it, is SMB remote code execution. Yep, I was right. So that was a biggie. All right, where are we at? Blah, blah, blah. Since the NTLM challenges can be intercepted, we can use offline cracking techniques to recover the password associated with the NTLM challenge. However, this cracking process is significantly slower than the cracking NTLM hashes directly. We can use our rogue device, that's our LDAP server, to stage a man-in-the-middle attack, relaying the SMB authentication between the client and server, which will provide us with an active authenticated session and access to the target server. LLM and RNet, blah, blah, blah. In this task, we will take a bit of a look at the authentication that occurs during the use of SMB. We will use Responder, remember that from Throwback, to attempt to intercept the net NTLM challenge to crack it. There are usually a lot of these challenges flying around on the network. Some security solutions even perform a sweep of entire IP ranges to recover information from hosts. Sometimes, due to stale DNS records, these authentication challenges can end up hitting your rogue device instead of the intended host. Responder allows us to perform man-in-the-middle attacks by poisoning the responses during net NTLM authentication tricking the client into talking to you instead of the actual server they want to connect to, right? Classic man in the middle. On a real LAN, responder will attempt to poison any link, local multicast name resolution, NetBIOS name server, and web proxy auto discovery requests that are detected. And a good practice for this, if you're going to use responder and you're actually doing a pen test, you start it right around that 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because people are arriving to the office when a lot of these initial requests are being made. On large Windows networks, these protocols allow hosts to perform their own local DNS resolution for all hosts on the same local network. Rather than overburdening network resources such as the DNS server, hosts can first attempt to determine if the host they are looking for is on the same local network by sending out LLMNR requests and seeing if any hosts respond. Then NBTNS is the precursor protocol to LMNR, and WPAD requests are made to try and find a proxy for future HTTPS connections. Wall of text, but good stuff. Since these protocols rely on requests broadcasted on the local network, our rogue device would also receive these requests. Usually, these requests would simply be dropped since they were not meant for our host. However, responder will actively listen to the request and send poison responses telling the requesting host that our IP is associated with the requested host name. By poisoning these requests, responder attempts to force the client to connect to our attack box or our Kali machine. In the same line, it starts to host several servers such as SMB, HTTP, SQL, and others to capture these requests and force authentication. All right, intercepting net NTLM challenge. Let's go ahead and get Kali pulled up. Here we go. One thing to note is that responder essentially tries to win the race condition by poisoning the connections to ensure that you intercept the connection. This means that responder is usually limited to poisoning authentication challenges on the local network. Since we are connected via VPN to the network, we will only be able to poison authentication challenges that occur on this VPN network. For this reason, we have simulated an authentication request that can be poisoned that runs every 30 minutes. Jeez, I don't want to have to wait 30 minutes. Maybe we'll get lucky. Otherwise, when I start the next stream, I might start this ahead of time so we grab that. Let's see. Let me scroll back down. Although responder would be able to intercept and poison more authenticator requests when executed from our rogue device connected to the LAN of an organization, it is crucial to understand that this behavior can be disruptive and thus detected. By poisoning authentication requests, normal network authentication attempts would fail, meaning users and services would not connect to the host and shares they attend to, and the help desk is going to hate you. I added that part. Do keep this in mind when using responder on a security assessment. Responder has already been installed in the attack box. However, if you're not using it, you can download blah, blah, blah. Do I have responder? Yep, I do. We will set responder to run on the interface connected to the VPN. Okay. If you are using the attack box, not all the responder services will be able to start since other servers are already using those ports. However, this will not impact the task. Also, yeah, we do already have our LDAP server running. Do we need to close the LDAP server? Well, we have LMNR, we might be okay. Also, make sure you specify ton 0 or ton 1, depending on which tunnel has your network IP. We already did that. Responder will now listen for all LMNR, MBTNS, and WDAP requests. Let's make sure those are all on. LMNR, MBTS. Let's see, WDAP proxy is off. Well, I think it's doing its thing. It's gonna be hard to tell though if you have to wait 30 minutes. However, in our case, we have to simulate this poisoning by having one of the servers attempt to authenticate the machines on the VPN. Leave responder running for a bit, average of 10 minutes, and get some fresh air. Now would be a good time for a break. But it's almost midnight, so when I disconnect, I might just leave my machine running, go to bed, and then when I wake up in the morning, we'll see if it grabbed one of these before the network disconnected. But let's see what it's gonna do. You should receive an SMB version 2 connection, which responder can use to entice and extract a challenge that will look something like this. Here's what we're looking for. We're gonna get a client IP, We're gonna get a username here. It's gonna be a service account, it would appear. And we're gonna get a hash so we can then crack it. If we were using our rogue device, we would probably run responder for quite some time, capturing, oh, look at that. Hey, it came through, my friends. Let's grab this so we don't lose it. We got lucky. Let's call it, I don't even remember what it's called. Cool, we grabbed that down. If we were using our rogue device, we'd probably run responder for quite some time, capturing several challenges. Once we have a couple, we can start to perform some offline cracking of the challenges in the hopes of recovering their associated NTLM passwords. If the accounts have weak passwords configured, we have a good chance of successfully cracking them. Copy the blank hash to a text file. We will then use the password list provided in the downloaded files for this task and hashcat. Sweet, so they even send us they even gave us a password list. I download that. Nope. Let's grab that real quick. Oh, I did. How come I don't see it? Oh, because I'm downloading it to my host machine, which I thought, oh, on my other machine, I set up a share folder between the two machines, so I must not have done it on this one. Let me just go and grab that. Maybe we'll end after we finish this task right here. Come on, TryHackMe. Don't got. Well, I should just be able to. What am I doing? Let's just do this the easy way. Copy. Okay, we got our password list.txt, and we are going to use hashcat on this beast. Well, I think it would just be, well, we should be able to do all of it, I would think. Okay, we have the password file. We'll use hashtag 5600, which corresponds, if you use your own machine, you can have hashtag installed. Okay, so hashcat, if I remember the thing, it's -m for module 5600, and then I think we specify the hash and then the word list, which is actually going to be that. I think I did the commands right. The passwords provided for you in attack box. Blah, blah, blah. Any hashes that we crack will now provide us with AD creds for our breach, relaying the challenge. Some instance, however, we can take this step further by trying to relay the challenge instead of just capturing it directly. It's almost like a pass the hash, but it's a pass the challenge attack, right? It's a little bit more difficult to do without prior knowledge of the account, since this attack depends on the permissions of the associated account. And what is the account that we grabbed? So it's a file copy service account. Come on. Hashcat, step your game up. Peer backend kernel selected. Can crack longer passwords but drastically reduce performance. If you want to switch to optimized kernel, append O to your command line. Let's just try that. I don't know what that means. Okay, let's do this thing while we read through this. This is a little bit more difficult to do without prior knowledge of the account, since the attack depends on the permissions of the associated account. We need a couple of things to play in our favor. All right, number one, SMB signing should either be disabled or enabled but not enforced. When we perform a relay, we make minor changes to the request to pass it along. If SMB signing is enabled, we won't be able to forge the message signature. meaning the server would reject it. The associated account needs the relevant permissions on the server to access the requested resources. Ideally, we are looking to relay the challenge of an account with administrative privileges over the server, as this would allow us to gain a foothold on the host. Since we technically don't yet have an AD foothold, we get it. Correct. Cool. Look at that. There's our password. And service file copy. So let's echo. Come on, scroll. Oh, we need like an escape character, don't we? Is it this? Perfect. So just know that if you do an exclamation mark, you just need to do an escape character there to get it to show up. The associate account needs the relevant permissions on the server to access a request. We read that. Since we technically don't yet have an AD foothold, some guesswork is involved into what accounts will have permissions on which host. If we had already breached AD, we could perform some initial enumeration, which is usually the case, which we have. This is why blind relays are not usually popular. Ideally, you would first breach AD using another method and then perform enumeration to determine the privileges associated with the account, right? Net user / domain. From here, you can usually perform lateral movement for priv-esc across the domain. However, it is still good to fundamentally understand, I think they mean, how a relay attack works as shown in the diagram below. So number one, user sends NTLM negotiate, which attacker intercepts with poisoning. We are the attacker. That is us, right? All right, this is us. We're the attacker. Authentication forwards NTLM authenticate on behalf of the user. The server responds with the NTLM hash encrypted with the user's hash. That's what we just got. The attack forwards NTLM challenge to user. User sends challenge response. Right, we're right here. 5. Or 6. There's no 6. Attacker forwards challenge response. Server grants access. Attacker sends access denied. Attacker accesses server resources. So classic kind of man-in-the-middle attack. You love the use of the mask. Good. That's my trademark. I'm going to get sued by whatever network Mr. Robot's from. If you want to try this type of attack in action, head over to the Holo network. We'll also come back to this one in future AD rooms. We'll have to do that sometime, Nate, for one of these streams. It's a long network. It'll take us a while. What is the name of the tool we can use to poison and capture authentication requests in the network? Responder. What is the username associated? Service copy or something. I don't remember. Service file copy. What is the value? F password. F society. Boom. 1202. Good stopping point. We have just a few things left. We will knock this out this week. So if you haven't done this, I encourage you to give it a shot, get caught up, and we will dive back into this. Let me open up OBS. Hey, for those of you joining, once again, I want to thank you for hanging out with me on the live stream tonight. This is the new Hack Smarter Twitch. So if you follow my old Twitch, Tyler Ramsbey, just know that I will no longer be using that. This is the Twitch I will be streaming on, and we will be streaming live 7 nights a week most weeks. Every once in a while things come up or one of us will be on vacation and we'll adjust, but most of the time we will be streaming live 7 nights a week. Me or Nate will be on here. Tomorrow night Nate will be back on around the same time, and I will be back on Tuesday. So join Nate tomorrow, join me on Tuesday, share this with your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.